It has been 3 long years since I last was a part of the iRacing world, and because of coming back is such a big deal for me, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a look down memory lane while the race rolls. This is me, by the way, in the N7 car. In my life, I have genuinely only enjoyed two things: playing games and driving. So you'd think I would focus more on racing games. Of course, I like all sorts of games, so I play all sorts of games. I have played several racing games in the past, even got my hands on a wheel a couple of times. But mostly I played with a keyboard or a controller, and that just doesn't feel right. So back then racing games were just another game to play. More arcadey, automatic gears, suggested racing lines, all that. And most of my life I've been pretty broke, so a wheel wasn't really an option. Everything changed in 2020, when I actually did have money. Black Friday was closing in, and I wanted to buy something. Then I suddenly realized I want a wheel to play an actual sim racing game, and happened to come across a Logitech T29. And it's an investment, but not too big of a one for me to regret it if it, for whatever reason, ends up collecting dust. Well, it didn't, and actually now I'm longingly looking at a Moza Racing R5 bundle, which is on sale right now, but no can do. So I guess the G29 will have to suffice. But the next step was to figure out what game to buy. If I wanted to race with actual people on PC in a realistic sim, it didn't take long to realize that iRacing was the best choice, though an expensive one. I thought fuck it, and got a subscription for 6 months. And then I was off. I started with the Mazda MX-5. My first practice session in Tsukuba wasn't promising. My very first turn 1. I blew up the engine downshifting too fast. Didn't even know that can happen. Eventually I grew enough balls to actually do a race. And the thrill of racing actual people was something I had never felt before. Soon enough I got out of rookies and moved to the Audi RS3 LMS touring car. Fun fact, at the time the Audi was pretty much the only car I could buy. If I had the selection of cars they have nowadays, I think I would have stayed away from the touring car series and raced with the Toyota GR86, which by the way also wasn't an option when I started. From that lineup, I think that Toyota is the only car I have actually wanted in real life. Also the reason I'm driving it on my first race since I got it back. But after that, I discovered Rallycross and mostly stayed there till the end of my 6-month subscription. After that, I took 6 months off until returning for a 1-year subscription. There I diversified my experience a bit more to see if there was more iRacing had to offer that I'd enjoy. I tried Dirt Oval, but after getting to D class I realized I sucked ass. I tried Road Oval and did mostly like it. The problem I had was with the small ovals. They were more annoying than anything. Well, at least with the faster cars, maybe not so much on Arca, for example. I tried some off-road, which was pretty fun, but the races were pretty empty. I also did some GT3 and bought myself a Lamborghini Huracan, because that car is the coolest looking goddamn thing in the entire game. And I'm not 100% on this, but I've heard it's shit now, and no one drives it anymore, but I guess I will find it out for myself eventually. Anyway. Then I discovered Open Wheel and spent most of the rest of my subscription time there. At that time, Open Wheel, or Formula car, like it's called nowadays, wasn't its own license class, and I got to F3 cars from the start. Whether it was a good idea to start open wheel from there or not is a completely different discussion. And actually, I feel like I've been fucked over, because now the Lamborghini is shit, allegedly, and when I looked it up, there is not a single goddamn official series with the Formula 3.5, which makes that car pretty much useless for me. But anywho, I think I kinda screwed up in that sense. I was totally aware that I should get better and faster with the car I was currently driving first. But when I got that new shiny license, I just had to jump in and see what it had to offer. Or then I just got distracted by something else. But eventually my subscription ended and I haven't touched iRacing for 3 years. But I felt now is the time to return. I've played a bit of Dirt Rally 2.0 and Assetto Corsa in the meantime, and I really do mean just a little bit. But when you have raced against humans, driving alone like in Rally or driving against AI like in AC just doesn't feel like anything anymore. Yes, there is multiplayer in AC, but honestly I haven't touched it once. I don't know why, but I've been too afraid to go and try. I haven't driven the cars that they usually have, and there is no ranking or splits, and I haven't been playing enough to go against who I'm guessing have way more experience driving that car on that track that I might not have even heard of. Are these just excuses? Yes. Could I practice and join a race then? Sure, but for some reason I didn't want to. There's just something in iRacing. Maybe partially because if you're willing to pay that top dollar, you're not there just to fuck around. Unless it's little kids racing with their parents' money, but I'm hoping they are a minority. I'm hoping. So I waited for Black Friday, and after 3 years of being away, I am ready to iRace again. And now that I'm back, I noticed the UI has changed quite a bit, among other things. And yes, I'd say at least at first glance it does look way better than before. I had no recollection what my license or my iRating was when I last stopped, but it's not as bad as I remembered. Especially with Dirt Road. I mean, I don't know if 2.2k is a lot of iRating, but compared to my other iRatings it is. But anyway, I came back to drive some slower cars to reorient myself, and before I thought faster is better, but of course that's not always the case, and instead of speed I should maybe focus on what's most fun for me. But I was thinking if I should go and try the GT4 class at some point. And unlike in GT3, instead of focusing on the looks, maybe buy a car that's a bit safer to drive. The problem is I have been looking for some videos, articles and forums to help me figure out what to get. But I don't know if it's more down to preference, which is hard because I can't really compare when I can only buy one car. If I went by looks alone, I think I'd get the McLaren, but I'm trying to figure out what car is the most stable and easy to drive. I'm open for suggestions, but I think the Mercedes is the one that gets recommended pretty often, and that might be the one I'll get. Though, when looking what people say is the best car from YouTube, the suggestions vary quite a bit, and many times they say that yes, it's pretty much down to preference. Because after being away for 3 years, with not that much racing experience in between, I feel like I'm starting from scratch. And maybe this time, instead of spending time on a little bit of this and a little bit of that, I'll try to focus more on 1 or 2 cars and see if I can actually improve. But I have said this several times in the past, I am a slow learner, but I learn. But I also forget. I got a subscription for a year again, so I'm guessing after about a year we'll see if I have learned enough to actually be faster and safer. But the most important part is to race and have fun. Last time I constantly had to be chasing some invisible dragon, whether it was a better license or something else. Now let's just focus on having fun. But for the rest of the year I thought I'd race with what I have, and then when 2026 comes I'd get that GT4 car and 2 tracks, all I can afford, and hope that's enough to get through most of the first season of the year. Maybe there will be some maintenance before that, so I might possibly be able to do some test runs. We'll see. Before, when I did iRacing videos, I kinda just recorded random races, but I'll try to do this more like a journey, if I can. I'm not equipped with that good of an imagination, so we'll see how this goes. But for this race, I thought I'd just let it roll. And I didn't really practice as much, I maybe should have, but I had a chance for one race the day I renewed my subscription and didn't want to wait any longer, so I was pretty much expecting to lose iRating. And by not having much practice, I mean I did maybe one lap because my VR headset didn't want to cooperate. So that took pretty much all of my practice time, and in addition to that, I had to constantly recenter my view. Why my headset didn't want to work was beyond me, because just before I last stopped playing iRacing, I got my VR headset and managed to do a couple of laps, and it worked just fine. And I have also used my VR headset with the Assetto Corsa and Dirt Rally 2.0, and I had no issues. So I couldn't fathom why it decided to fuck me over now. But in the end, I went racing way before I was ready and got what I deserved. Started P14, finished P16, and lost 57 iRating and 0.28 safety rating in the process. Still, it was great fun iRacing again, and the next one went way better. Started P14 again, but this time finished P10. And I realized what was wrong with my HP Reverb G2, or at least I think I did. I have raced during the evening when it's dark, and even if I have all the lights on, my monitor which is right in front of me, is too bright, and that made my headset go haywire, so covering up my monitor helped somewhat. And even though there was more actual racing involved in my next race, this was my first one, and I thought it's better to show the starting point of the continuation of my iRacing journey. Maybe I could have shown parts of both, but like I said, this was my first one, so I wanted to show how this went, even though there might not have been as much racing involved. Anyway, race-wise, I thought I'd focus less on the numbers and just focus on having fun and improving my skills, so maybe I won't stress as much while racing. Let's just skip till the end here, because basically it's just me driving around. But, okay. Until next time, thanks for watching and